Praise be Jesus Christ. Lent of 2024 is upon us. And it's always a good time, a very sacred time, in fact, in the history of the Catholic Church, a very sacred time of trying to reconnect with God on a deeper level, trying to search deeply into our souls, into our hearts, and into our relationships, and see if we have not fallen off the path to salvation. As we look at the spirituality of Lent, we always talk about prayer, fasting, almsgiving, and so of course these are the three cornerstone or three pillars of Lent, of Lenten spirituality. But on the practical level, there are so many things that we can do, so many things we can change. It's interesting how silly some of the practices have become, like I'm gonna give up sweets for Lent. I am going to give up soda for Lent. It's really difficult to see any spiritual benefit in those kind of Lenten promises, Lenten observances. Giving up sweets for Lent, I'm sure it's going to help physically. Giving up soda for Lent, I'm sure it's going to make a nice joke, and it's going to help physically, but it's not going to deepen a relationship with God. God is not about soda or sweets, or anything like that. When we read the readings for Ash Wednesday, and when we realize what Jesus is trying to accomplish in the desert for 40 days, we should try to approach Lent first of all with some seriousness. Second of all, with this realization that it can be a possibility to regain a relationship with God, be reminded of the relationship with God and how much God means in our life. And so we are going to, in our parish, we are going to have several activities and opportunities for you, parishioners of St. Anne's, to engage, to deepen your religious experience, to enrich your religious experience, to leave other activities, to give them up maybe, in order to make room for some religious activities, but not only. So let me just go through these activities and then see if there is anything else that we can focus on this Lent. First of all, Ash Wednesday, so of course we have 9 a.m. Mass and 7 p.m. Mass, and then we will begin with being marked with ashes, right? The symbol of what we are without God, without God's grace. And Jesus even emphasizes that you are ashes and into ash you will return. But that's not to take away hope. That is to remind us that human beings are just that. Without God. With God, we have all these other possibilities. And so I encourage you to, first of all, consider coming to all of the Stations of the Cross. Every Friday at 7 p.m., every Friday, which is a day when Jesus died on the cross. We know that it was on Good Friday. Jesus picked up the cross, walked the Stations of the Cross, died. Traditionally, we understand at 3 p.m. and at 7 p.m. we celebrate Stations of the Cross. Why is it so important? Because Friday has been taken away from us. Friday has been taken by concerts, by games, by TV, by shows, by entertainment business. And if we cave in, if we completely compromise, we are not going to be able even to say that in our life we honor the day on which Jesus died. And if Catholics don't do it, then who will do it? And so we have this great opportunity to not only come to Stations of the Cross or visit the Blessed Sacrament maybe at 3 p.m. or say the Divine Mercy Chaplet at 3 p.m. But we also have an opportunity to give up something, give up going out to restaurants and loud places. Even, I'm sure some of you will be invited to wedding rehearsal dinners, wedding receptions, parties that really, for Catholics, are not supposed to happening. There is a law in the church. One of the precepts of the church is that we don't celebrate weddings during Lent unless there is like a special need, like someone is going to war or someone is going to be deployed, and for the spiritual benefit of the couple, we will agree, but we don't even do baptisms on a regular basis during Lent, because all of these, carry with themselves also a possibility of party or dinners or going to loud places. And so let's say you are invited to a wedding and you have to go, or you feel like you should go. Well, don't compromise Lent completely. I mean, go to the wedding, but you may consider, if you go to the wedding reception, are you going to stay for the dancing party, or are you going to just eat the dinner, spend the time quietly with the people, greet them, and then go home? And if someone asks you why, because it's Lent. Because that's how we proclaim Jesus. Because that's how we emphasize that we are serious about it. Can you imagine? There was this big movement about, Muslims years ago, before 9/11 especially, when Muslims were considered these very religious people because they were not afraid to show their religion views publicly. They were super serious about Ramadan. They were almost pointing to us Christians on how casual we have become with our practices. Well, there is some truth to it. And I think, with all seriousness, and we all respect to all these who are not Catholic or who are inviting us to parties because they don't care for Lent, we are the ones who should tell them, I can't come to this, or I can come, but I'm going to stay just for the dinner. I'm really trying to avoid loud places. I'm really trying to reconnect with the core of my being, with my relationship with God. I'm trying to care more for my spiritual life. That's Lent. It has nothing to do with giving up sweets or sodas. That's all for your body if you don't realize that. For the soul, that's the challenge. And so we have Stations of the Cross. We invite you to, of course, visit the Adoration Chapel. If you don't have a code to enter 24/7, then contact the office, sign the contract, get the code. We invite you to consider coming with us to street evangelization. We are going to go to several locations around this parish and outside of the boundaries of our parish, and we are going to try to engage people who are just passing by and ask them if they know if God loves them, and if they don't, if we can pray with them. If they heard about the Catholic Church, if they heard about the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, is there anything they're going through in life? Then maybe we will pray for them. We will invite them to our Holy Week liturgies, which will begin with Holy Thursday at 7 p.m., Good Friday at 7 p.m., Holy Saturday, the Great Vigil at 8 p.m., and Easter Sunday Masses, just like always every Sunday at 8 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And of course, already now, please, I ask you, as your pastor, please make plans to attend Holy Week liturgies, Holy Thursday, Holy Good Friday, or at least one of them, but they are so beautiful. They are the most beautiful liturgies that the Catholic Church has to offer. They are the most meaningful too, because they culminate in Easter. I cannot imagine experiencing the joy of Easter on Sunday, Easter Sunday, just by coming to Sunday and skipping, the veneration of the cross on Good Friday, the establishment of the Eucharist. And, this year in our parish, we will be spending time all night long with Jesus when he goes to the place of repose, which we call Jesus is in prison. And so we are going to be with him, keep vigil with him. On Holy Thursday, when the liturgy ends, we will transfer Jesus to our Adoration Chapel, and then we will be keeping vigil all night long until the next day, noon, on Good Friday, so that we can show that we will not let Jesus go through it alone. We want to give back. So street evangelization on Sundays in the afternoon, will meet at 1 p.m. Every Sunday for prayer in the church, and after 30 minutes of prayer we'll depart to the location, and then from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. we'll be engaging people. Then we come back to church, and at 5 p.m. every Sunday of Lent We will have solemn vespers, the liturgy of the hours, the traditional prayer of the church called the breviary. Will be singing psalms and praying in a traditional way, with the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament and exposition at 5 p.m. every Sunday of Lent. Also on Wednesdays, another activity at 5 p.m. we will expose the Blessed Sacrament, have a holy hour. I will hear confessions until 5:55. At 5:55 p.m. on Wednesdays, we will have a benediction, and at 6 p.m. evening Mass for all those who are looking for another opportunity to come to Mass. You see, I'm extending myself, trying to make more things available for you, and the only thing that I ask of you is to participate, to not dismiss, not go back to your house and just carry on like as if Lent didn't happen. And the only thing that you would do maybe, which would be not very heroic, let's say, you come to Stations of the Cross when there is fish fry. Well, that's again, focus on yourself. You're going to get some food and then you're going to pray. That's not very heroic. That's not what's going to reconnect you with God. That may be a nice first step, but I can tell you if that's all you do, this Lent will go like as if it didn't happen. And I don't want that for you. But of course, I encourage you guys make your decisions, but I do encourage you to not let it go. So please, for men, especially Exodus 40, a special program, you have information on our website, in our bulletin. We'll be beginning on Ash Wednesdays, and there will be meetings. So first of all, prayer at 6 a.m. in the historic chapel, at 6 a.m. every Friday. That will be the Lauds, also the breviary, the traditional Catholic prayer for clergy, but now it's open to everybody. And that's for men and women, whoever wants to come. Now, after that prayer, the men of the Exodus 40 group will meet for reflection and prayer, but that's only going to be for the men who have engaged with the program. We also have a parish mission happening here at our church on Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, February 24th, 25th, the priest who is coming, Father John Paul Mary from the Franciscans of the Eternal Word from EWTN is coming, and he's going to preach to us that weekend to invite you to the missions, and the missions will take place on Sunday at 6 p.m., February 25th, Monday, February 26th at 7 p.m., and Tuesday at 7 p.m. He will have some great talks. And again, participating at the parish mission for Lent, it's one of the very basic practices. So I ask you once again, mark your calendars, challenge your family dynamic, challenge your family schedules. Not everything should be given to the world, to the sports, but fight for your time with God to enrich your faith. Of course, when it comes to almsgiving, we'll have the CRS Rice Bowl every single Sunday, donations for migrant farm workers, and also everything that goes into our devotional candles, it is being used for charitable works of our parish. And so you can light a candle, throw some extra money in, whatever you saved up during Lent on other activities that you have given up. That's what really should be donated towards almsgiving. Maybe increase your donations to charities or the church. And another practice that I will request of our parish will be to stay a bit longer after Mass. We all know about the people who like to leave right after communion. We all laugh about it. It's not really funny, but they, in a sense, have become this object of judgment, that they are those people. And so I'm asking everybody to, when the Mass concludes with the blessing, not to leave, but to stay, to sing the hymn till the end, and after the hymn, get down on your knees and say a little prayer of thanksgiving for Lent. Maybe it will become your sacred time later on after Lent too, but just for Lent, if you can please stop yourself, give Jesus some more attention, ask Him to give you a generous heart, to give you a holy heart, to give you a pure heart. Thank Him for the opportunity to be at Mass, to be able to worship in peace. And so don't remember, of course, if rosary maybe is something that you struggle with. Maybe Lent is a good time to pick up the rosary and pray one decade of the rosary in the morning, then throughout the day another decade and another decade, and maybe throughout the day you'll be able to pray the whole rosary. Reading of the scriptures, reading of spiritual books. We will have some propositions for you in the parish bookstore, or you can go after Mass and see if there is anything that really calls you. Maybe one of the books that really speaks to you that you would like to pick up for Lent, something that will set you properly spiritually on the way to holiness. Maybe you want to spend more time in adoration chapel. Maybe you want to do something for community. But we are not community workers. Everything that we do, all of our charitable work must be connected with prayer first. It is at Mass first, which is the beginning of all charitable work of the Church, and second from our prayer. Otherwise, it's all disconnected from the reality of Jesus, and it can be done by people who do not have faith. But we are all about Jesus Christ, our Savior, and all about, and of course, last but not least, something probably that I should have said in the beginning, good confession. If there is anything about Lent that is worth mentioning, it's always a time for a good confession. Father John Paul, when he comes to give parish mission, to preach it here, now he's going to be hearing confessions every time after the parish mission. So those who will come will always have an opportunity to go to confession. But everybody, all teenagers, all children from 2nd grade up, all adults, everybody should go to confession during Lent. Without it, again, it's just like, has it even happened? Did we even have Lent? Did we even engage? And so take every opportunity. You can try in our church, you can go to Savannah. There's so many churches that have shorter lines, and it's so much more convenient or easier to get to confession than in our parish. But try, look for it. Examine your conscience first, Read some examination of conscience for adults, for teenagers, for married people, for single people, so that you can really be prepared. And make this Lent be a time of change. I am trying to stretch myself a little bit more with all these extra activities. I am a little bit anxious about it. I don't know how it's going to affect me, physically and spiritually and emotionally. But I'm trusting that it's going to be good, because it's for the good of the people. And like I said, the only thing you can do to support me in this and support yourself and your spiritual life is to show up, is to try to be there. Even if you only come once to the extra activities, except for Stations of the Cross, I think those we should attend every single Friday with your whole family. And if you cannot with the whole family, just send someone from the house, because that is just the basic. And so God bless you. Stay strong, and I'll see you during all of our liturgies throughout this Lent.